Hello, good evening, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, friends. A very important episode on counseling skill set, the basic counseling skills. I am going to talk about the process through which uh, we carry out uh, the initial interview or the initial um, uh, breaking the ice and creating a rapport. Now, enough and a lot has been written. So, what I'm going to say again here is not my personal wisdom. It's not something that I have designed or devised myself. I'm going to put forward work or some um, theories that great researchers have brought together, and we all have benefited from it. Uh, so, I'm going to keep it more practical. That how in a clinical practice uh, how you conduct the initial first interaction in the first interview. Let me share here one important thing for those of you who practice individually and for those who have a clinic and their team with them. It is very important to know that unlike normal clinic, normal medical clinic where you have a person in reception and they can pick up a phone and give information about the fee structure, about who are the doctors available, about the appointments. A psychology or counseling clinic doesn't work this way, in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people still do it differently, but that's what I want to discuss here is that a person who is handling the first call of inquiry, remember that in most cases, even the first call, maybe that is 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, or 10 minutes, it is no less than a very sensitive session that could be happening over there, depending what kind of person is calling there. Please do not forget that people call a therapist or a client, especially on a phone call when they want to inquire. They call them once they are in their worst state of mind at that point, or they are at a critical point very recently. So they are coming with some, most of them may be coming with a lot of emotional load. They will have some loaded questions. They will have some, they want immediate help. And and for those countries and those cultures where people can afford time, the institutions or the clinics can afford time, I would say that please have the first person or the person who is answering the calls, preferably a person who is trained in counseling, a person who is trained in psychology, preferably if it's a proper professional clinic. If you tend uh, to to relegate this responsibility to a receptionist or person who is just uh, so now, what does it mean? Does it mean that we are putting a professional counseling process in a call? No, not at all. But it is important that a person who is taking the call has to be trained with the sensitivity of the issue what they are doing. For example, uh, if the client is asking too many questions, if they say that they need help or whatever, the person who is taking that call should know how not to answer those questions which are profession related, which is a professional help, and how to still be able to answer questions that can calm down the client at least for that moment. We already have protocols in place and people are in facing safety issues, life dangers and all that. Most counseling clinics are not the place for this. So there's a different protocol. So don't mix up these two things. But what I want to say is that first session is not only the session that you take, but the very first interaction of the client with you. It can be on a WhatsApp, it can be on an email, it can be on a phone call. Even that communication needs to be handled professionally. That's number one. So number two, when the client comes in And I'll skip the part of the clinic management. That's a different video that we will do. But the first interaction is where a lot of students and interns, they ask that how do we start. So there are a lot of techniques that you will find in the literature, but mostly uh, you will find that everybody will build their own way of doing it. Some people will say, how are you? Or were you okay to find the clinic? Did you find the parking place all right? So you get some kind of a feedback also this way, and just a bit of this, and then you introduce yourself. What's your name? What do you do? And then you can ask what brings you here today. If you find the client is already forthcoming, you don't have to stand between yourself and the client and let them talk straight away what they want to talk. If you think the client is reluctant, they think it's their first time, and if they are anxious, then you help them. And how you help them is what I want to talk about. For example, you can say that a lot of people, they keep thinking in their life that they should pick up the phone and ask for help, but they don't either get the courage, or they think it is still not the day. But you picked up the phone, you took the session. So would you like to say what happened to you, or what triggered that you asked for help? Is there something very, very important and recent that you want to start with? Or some people can start, and this is you're telling to the client that some people will start from their past and come to the present, and some people will start from the present and go to the past. Your options. So the client might not have found in their life an option giving situation. Some clients have reported that when the therapist said that you can do it any way you like, was itself a very comforting statement, because they might not have been ever told that they had options in their life. See, so whatever interaction you have with your client is going to create a bonding of trust that you are there to help. Something about the notes. It's important to make the notes, period. How you do it is more important. Uh, when we say notes, it means you have to inform the client that I may be writing down few points. And during that time, I might have to lose my eye contact with you. So don't think I'm not listening, but I'm just putting small little points so that none of the information is missed out. So you prepare the client. Secondly, uh, when client starts to speak, your ability to listen, and that's what I really want to focus on today's talk here, is that how you're going to receive that information, how your body language will be, how your eye contact will be, how your face expressions will be, how your voice will come out of your throat. Okay, all right, all that matters. And then comes a very important trait, which very conveniently we, the experienced psychologists, can also forget, is paraphrasing. Now, paraphrasing means what? For example, a client has said, I have come here to help because I have a problem with my mother. Let's suppose this is a teenage girl and she has a problem with her mother, who is not happy with her going out with her friends and come back late. When she says that I have a problem with my mother because she still thinks I'm a kid and she is trying to control my life. So how you paraphrase? Now you say, so okay. So what I understand is that your mother and you are facing some problems between yourself, where, as you mentioned, that she's not happy if you're going out with your friends and you come late, and that gives you a feeling as if you are being treated like a child. So once you will paraphrase, it will have a lot of benefits. Number one, if you have a lack of understanding in understanding what she said, that will be clarified. She will clarify. If she thinks what you said is not enough and she has to add more, she will add more. Amazing. And the third benefit is that in more often than not, once you will paraphrase, the client will know that you have understood, and your body language and face expressions are not that which are making you think with that whatever age, whatever gender you come from, the client will say, all right, this person is paraphrasing as if it's something coming from me. So yeah, there's an aircraft voice noise here, don't mind. Now, so the client will know, but through paraphrasing, that you have understood, and then the client will give you more information. So paraphrasing is a beautiful quality of connecting with the client, understanding and exploring more. It will not be always very simple that you keep paraphrasing and client will keep speaking. No, it will not happen. The clients will stop. They will come to a stop. They will ask questions. It is important that whenever the client comes up with a problem situation, then you need to, whenever you think that the clients, for example in CBT, we want to know what are their automatic thoughts, what are their cognitive distortions, how is their self-image, how do you come to know? Actually, you as a counselor are not there to give them a solution, a ready-made solution of what to do. No, not at all. Your job is like a miner. You know, miner, the people who go into the mines and they have a torch on their head, on their helmet. And they go into a mine and that torch lights up the area. And they know which way to go and which way to avoid. So your client is kind of lost or could be lost in the channels or in the caves of their own life with the dark all around them. So you as a counselor has to become a light bulb to make everything lit up and tell them and not tell them, sorry, to show them that these are the paths that you have to go through. What options they have to take is they have to take. But when I say they have to take, your job is to equip the client to build those things which they don't have to take the proper decisions. You will still as a therapist will not be taking for the proper decisions. You are not going to tell them. So I've gone too forward actually here in order to explain. Let me come back now to the initial part. And that is that there's something which is called motivational interviewing. Motivational interviewing is the same process that client says something and then instead of let's suppose you don't agree with that idea or you think that is dangerous or that will not work, instead of stopping the client, you pose a question. I'll give you an example. I met a client a few years ago, and she was very disturbed, and she wanted help in dealing with her husband and the family of her husband. And I realized that this person had a lot of baggage which she carried from her childhood all the way to her married life. But that day, uh, she came and she said, I'm very angry with one of my friends. And that was something that was difficult for me to comprehend, that what the friend has done for her to feel this way. Now, the case was that this friend, uh, when the client left her kids with the friend back in few months or a few years ago, that was a moment when uh, that friend did not look after the kids as well as she should have. And this client had that kind of a regret, guilt that she left her kids with that friend for some reason, for a few days actually. And that was because she had to go attend a wedding in her in-laws place which she did not want to take her kids and all that. Anyway, now this client then came up with this notion that day in the session that I really want and confront that friend. And she wanted to actually go and violently confront the friend. How violently? I didn't know. She didn't tell. She could be a verbal abuse, it could be a physical assault. No, I don't know. So she said, today I'm going to tell you what she did to me and I'm super angry and this is what I'm going to do. Okay, all right. So before we really before we really tell her what to do or what not to do, let's understand. So we understand, and I asked her what happened, and then she told me this story. But she again came back to the center stage and said, "No, I'm going to do this." Now, once you realize that a client has made up her mind or made up his mind to do something, that's the time. One of the ways to modify their behavior is you do some kind of motivational interviewing, and that is, I asked her, how would you aggressively or violently react? How would you go and take your revenge? She said, I will go down to her house and I'm going to shout on top of my voice. I'm going to tell her what she did to me. I said, okay, all right. So you want to go there? I paraphrased and I said, and does she have kids? She said, yes, she has kids. So you would like to shout in front of the kids then? She said, ah, no, not in front of the kids. So, so what? Okay, I will go at a time when the kids are not there. Okay, so you will go at the time when the kids are not there. So what will happen once you will shout to her? What do you think what she will do? Oh, I don't know. She has to understand what she did to me. Okay, then when you say you don't know, what can happen there? Where will you talk to her about all this? Oh, maybe in the kitchen, maybe. What kind of reaction can come from her? Oh, she can blast back on me. I know she has a big mouth. Or do you think it's only a verbal thing that she can restrict to, or she can go worse because you are at her place? Yeah, she can do. What else she can do? So what I want to say here is that clients sometimes have a blindness to the consequences of what they are saying because they're into those emotions. One of the work for the therapist is to break down the events into smaller pieces and make them visible to the client with the possible outcomes, and ask the client to become accountable of their actions and see what happens next. So for today, this is enough. I wanted to say what initial session is, how you handle the clients, how you take them. It's not all encompassing talk. I will come back with more about how we continue the sessions, how we do the Socratic questioning, guided discovery, for example, actually facilitation. All this comes very close cousins to each other with a different intention maybe. But the main focus is that your job is to probe, to ask more questions, and and enable the clients by not telling them what to do, but by making them reach that conclusion themselves, how you shape your questions and how you direct them more intelligently. Thank you very much.